Now, I'm not anti-mining at all. I'm not anti-mining. All the devices that we use today requires all these minerals, elements for them to function. So we need mining. So I'm not anti-mining. What I am is anti-exploitation. And in Jamaica, we don't get any money for our bauxite. Now, people might think I'm exaggerating, but we get $0 for our bauxite. And you can find this proof by looking on the Ministry of Finance website, and you look under the fiscal policy papers. In there, you will find all the information about bauxite, the bauxite levy. Now, the bauxite levy is what the companies pay to the Treasury for our bauxite. So we'd expect that we make billions of US, because if anybody recalls, in 2017, the Prime Minister announced that we're not going to mine in the cockpit country. And he wrote in a tweet, and the word he used was forgo. He said Jamaica will forgo losing billions of US dollars, if we do not mine in the cockpit country. Now, that is just a plain lie. When you look in the fiscal policy papers, I looked in it for this current year, the 23-24 fiscal year, you will find that there are tables in there showing how much bauxite, the history of how much we've been paid, and also the projections. So there, you'll see in that paper that in 2019, that the Treasury received $0. $0 we received for bauxite. Then they go through to the projections and go through to 2027, and that year as well, in 2027, they're going to receive $0. So we've got an 8-year period here where we're not going to get any bauxite earnings. Now, when you look at the figures, you'll see that there's 35 million US is going to be paid. That 35 million is coming from one company, and that is Windalco. And Windalco is not actually paying for the bauxite it's mining now. This is 35 million that is paying for bauxite in the past from before 2017. So we can categorically say that from between 2019 to 2027, in this 8-year period, the bauxite that's being mined, the millions and millions of tons of bauxite being mined, we are going to get £0, 0 yen, $0 for it. We're not going to get anything for it. Nothing. And you can see the amount of destruction that bauxite causes, the sufferation, the health problems, multitudes of problems. And we know that adds up to hundreds of millions of dollars every year. Now, bauxite does make money. It does make money because in 2019, on the Ministry of Mining website, they reproduced an article from Bloomberg, the financial paper, and the headline read something like, "Private investors are turning Jamaican dirt into gold." So private investors are making money. So in 2019, that year when we got $0, private investors were turning our bauxite into gold. The Daily Gleaner, which is our local rag, it supports mining. And a few months ago, they produced a piece, and in this piece it had that the bauxite earned over 3.2 billion US dollars. That's what I said, over 3.2 billion. But what the Gleaner didn't report was how much of that money did we get in a levy? The tax, how much did they pay? Unbelievably, we received $2 million, 2 million US. So bauxite earned over 3.2 billion, and from that we got $2 million. Now, $2 million in today's money, in Jamaican money, what's that? 300 million Jamaican dollars. We have about 3 million people living in Jamaica, which means that each one of us got $100 each for 4 years of bauxite. That's $25 each we got per annum for the bauxite, 25 Jamaican dollars per annum. If I take back a bottle of Red Stripe to the shop, I get $30 for it. So that's it, $25, and then I can get $30 from a bottle of beer. Now that puts into perspective how we've been exploited. And this is exploitation. Wherever black people are, there's exploitation. You go into Africa, what do we see there? The richest continent by far: gold, diamonds, bauxite, oil, platinum, uranium, cobalt, copper, zinc, you name it, it is there. But what's happening there? Go to Nigeria, poverty. Ghana, poverty. The Congo, poverty. Senegal, wherever you go, it's exploitation, where you have the colonists turned up from years ago. They make all the money and we don't get anything. And this is just bog standard how this world works, that we're always exploited. And somehow we can't unite. We can't unite and fight back. And here in this case, we can see documented that we do not receive any money for our bauxite, nothing. For all of the destruction and all the suffering, we receive $0. We have the poisoning of the Rio Cobre. We get $0 for that. It is plain wrong. And it's an exploitation always with black people. Now, it gets even worse because we have 4 mining companies in Jamaica. One of them isn't operating, so we have the other 3. We have Jamalco, Windalco, and Noranda. Now, Noranda was granted a license to mine in one area of Jamaica. Now, how this license was granted, when there should have been a cost to benefit analysis should have been done to prove that, okay, how much money will you be giving the government? How much money will the people be getting? And against how much are the costs associated with what you're doing. But that NEPA, the National Environmental and Planning Agency, didn't do that. They just granted them permission to do mining. So there you go, we have a problem there straight away. Now, the residents of this area have said, no, we're not having this. This is wrong. You're going to be impinging on our human rights because you cannot mine on our back doorstep. And this is true, you cannot. So they've gone to court about this. And the Supreme Court has ruled in their favor and said at the end of November 2023, there's going to be a hearing about it. Now, believe it or not, the government and Noranda have decided they're going to fight it in court. Now, what is even worse, it always gets worse with Jamaica, the UN and the International Agency for the Commission of Human Rights, they've contacted the government and said, look, this is a serious and urgent situation. You must put in place the groundwork to make sure that these people's rights are not abused. But what the Jamaican government's done is completely the opposite. It's taken itself to court with taxpayers' money to fight against its own people and fight for Noranda to go and actually mine on this land. Now remember, Noranda does not pay the bauxite levy. It hasn't been paying it, hasn't paid the bauxite levy from 2015. Noranda took it on its own head and said unilaterally, there's a problem, we're not paying the bauxite levy. A private company has come to our sovereign country and telling us it's not paying, it's going to continue mining, but not pay us for a bauxite. And they're allowed to get away with it. Not only are they allowed to get away with it, now the government has gone to court with them to say that you should be allowed to mine. And this is how corrupt Jamaica is. Immediately, the judge should throw this case out because he should be saying, okay, then if you want to mine, how much money have you contributed in the past? You've been here for 50 years, so how many billions of US have you contributed to the economy? They can't do that, and the judge hasn't asked them to do that. So they've gone to court and haven't talked about the past. They're telling the judge, oh, in the future, we are going to make this amount of money. Now for me, promise is a comfort for a fool, because we know they have history of not paying. But the thing is, they've colluded with the government just to lie. They've come up with these figures that they've plucked from the air. So one of the figures they plucked from the air was 35 million US that they said that they would pay in the last financial year that just ended on March the 31st. So that financial year 22-23, they said that they would pay 24.5 million for the levy and 10.5 million for royalties. So they've got together with Dr. Nigel Clark, the finance minister. So he's doctored the books and included in our budget this 24.5 million that they're going to pay. And you can see it, it's there, the bauxite levy, they're saying that they're going to pay it. Then when they've gone to court now, and they think, well, we're not paying it, they've returned to the books and then removed it. So every year you have a budget, and during the year, things change. You could have an increase in GCT, means you've got more money coming, so you have more money to spend. So the budget will always change. So when you look at the documentation, you will see that at one point this $24.5 million was there, and it disappeared in January. January just gone, this $24.5 million disappeared. They're not paying it because they're never going to pay it. Then they went to court in March telling the judge that we are going to pay this $35.5 million that they said they're going to pay, and they're not paying it. The first line, there's another line there, because they've said they're going to pay, Naranda said they're going to pay $10.5 million US for royalties. But what the Minister of Finance forgot to do was he may do the checks for the levy, but he didn't do the checks for the royalties. So I dug around and I found where you find the royalties in the revenue papers, and lo and behold, for the entire industry, the royalties that we're supposed to get amount to 5.8 million. So they forgot to add the 10.5 million from Naranda. It is all lies. This is the government we have. And you've got to remember, if people who are not familiar with Jamaica, recently these people just awarded themselves 200% pay increase. They've tripled their pay. These are the people who are making sure that we get nothing. $0 we're getting for our bauxite. So what we need now, people now, these are the facts. We really need now to rally together and do something about it. Now, in the description, I've written, there's going to be a link to a blog where I've written all about what I've spoken about, so you can read it for yourself, and it has the links, and it has screenshots as well of all these tables with the bauxite levy. So if people don't believe me, they can go there and see for themselves. But the point is this: we cannot continue as we are, as black people in general, that our mineral resources, all our resources are exploited invariably, I'll just say, by the white man. Yeah? We can't continue like this. We know now for a fact we're getting nothing for bauxite. Oh, we're just going to sit back and allow this court case to go on, and then what's going to happen? They're going to mine. We know they're going to continue mining. I said, I'm not against mining. I'm against exploitation. If they earned 3.2 billion in 4 years, we can't get 2 million. We should be getting billions of US, because that's what we've been told. The Prime Minister tells us all the time how important bauxite is, because it earns us over $1 billion US every year. And now we've found out it is a lie. Something must be done about it. We cannot have our parliamentarians just lying to the people. Thank you.